नमस्कार।
Good evening. This is Akashvani. I am Valsa Williams with the news at 9. The headlines: India and Greece agree to double bilateral trade by 2030 and elevate partnership to strategic level. Finance Minister Nirmala Sitharaman addresses B20 Summit of Business leaders in New Delhi, says government's priority is to check inflation. G20 trade and investment ministers adopt outcome document at a meeting in Jaipur, focusing on promotion of global trade and support to MSMEs. Supreme Court transfers all CBI cases pertaining to Manipur violence to a set of designated judges in Assam. In badminton, India's HS Prannoy to play in men's singles quarterfinals of World Championships in Copenhagen this evening. And in cricket, Indian women's blind team scripts history by entering maiden final of World Games in Birmingham to face Australia in the summit clash tomorrow. Prime Minister Narendra Modi today said India and Greece have agreed to double the bilateral trade by 2030. Mr. Modi made the announcement while addressing the joint press conference with his Greek counterpart Kyriakos Mitsotakis following bilateral talks between the two leaders in Athens this afternoon.
प्रधानमंत्री जी और मैं सहमत हैं कि हमारा द्विपक्षीय व्यापार तेजी से बढ़ रहा है और आगे भी बढ़ोतरी की अपार संभावनाएं हैं। इसलिए हमने वर्ष 2030 तक अपने द्विपक्षीय व्यापार को 2 गुना करने का लक्ष्य तय किया है।
Prime Minister Modi said India and Greece have decided to take their partnership to a strategic level.
आज प्रधानमंत्री जी और मैंने भारत ग्रीस पार्टनरशिप को स्ट्रेटेजिक स्तर पर ले जाने का निर्णय लिया है। हमने तय किया है कि हम डिफेंस एंड सिक्योरिटी, इंफ्रास्ट्रक्चर, कृषि, शिक्षा, न्यू एंड इमर्जिंग टेक्नोलॉजी और स्किल डेवलपमेंट के क्षेत्रों में अपने सहयोग को बढ़ाकर अपनी स्ट्रेटेजिक पार्टनरशिप को मजबूती देंगे।
Mr. Modi added that in areas of defence and security, India and Greece have agreed on strengthening defence industrial cooperation apart from military ties.
आज हमने आतंकवाद और साइबर सिक्योरिटी के क्षेत्र में आपसी सहयोग पर भी चर्चा की। हमने तय किया कि हमारे राष्ट्रीय सुरक्षा सलाहकारों के स्तर पर भी बातचीत का एक संस्थागत प्लेटफॉर्म होना चाहिए।
Prime Minister Modi mentioned that India and Greece will soon reach an agreement on migration and mobility partnership. In his remarks, the Prime Minister of Greece said their first objective is to double the bilateral trade, and both nations are ready to proceed side by side in dealing with future challenges, especially in the period of upheaval and war in Ukraine. Prime Minister Modi gifted a Meghalaya shawl to the spouse of the Greek Prime Minister. Meghalaya shawls carry a rich history and a royal lineage that dates back centuries. Prime Minister Modi is now addressing the Indian community in Greece. Let's go live to listen to the Prime Minister's address.
मैथमेटिक्स हो, आर्ट्स हो, व्यापार हो, हम दोनों सभ्यताओं ने एक दूसरे से बहुत कुछ सीखा है और एक दूसरे को बहुत कुछ सिखाया भी है। मेरे परिवारजनों, हर सभ्यता और हर संस्कृति की कुछ न कुछ एक विशेष पहचान होती है। भारतीय सभ्यता की पहचान विश्व को जोड़ने की रही है। इस भावना को हमारे गुरुओं ने सबसे ज्यादा सशक्त किया है। गुरु नानक देव जी का विश्व भ्रमण, जिसको हम उदासियों के रूप में जानते हैं, उनका उद्देश्य क्या था? उनका उद्देश्य यही था कि वो मानवता को जोड़े, इंसानियत का भला करे। गुरु नानक देव जी ने ग्रीस में भी अनेक स्थानों की यात्रा की थी।
Mr. Modi also attended a business lunch hosted by his Greek counterpart today. The event saw participation from leading Indian and Greek CEOs from diverse sectors. Speaking on the occasion, Prime Minister Modi encouraged the business leaders of Greece to utilize investment opportunities in India and be a part of India's growth story. Earlier in the day, Mr. Modi met Greece President Katerina Sakellaropoulou. Prime Minister Modi was also conferred with the Grand Cross of the Order of the Honour by the Greek President. Mr. Modi thanked President Sakellaropoulou, the government and people of Greece for the honour. This is the first visit by an Indian Prime Minister to Greece in the last 40 years. Prime Minister Modi reached Greece this morning after completing a fruitful visit to South Africa that launched a new chapter in the BRICS journey. The B20 Summit India 2023 commenced in New Delhi today. The summit is based on the theme of B20 India RAISE, Responsible, Accelerated, Innovative, Sustainable, Equitable Businesses. Speaking at the summit, Finance Minister Nirmala Sitharaman said the government's priority is to tame inflation to ensure sustained economic growth.
My priorities would be taming inflation. So key priority for economic growth, because persistently high inflation will weaken demand. It's basic economics. I'm not saying anything new. Equally, elevated interest rates for considerable time can come in the way of economic recovery. So the tendency to use interest rates as the only solution for dealing with inflation.
The minister said India has showcased an accelerated pace of economic reforms in the last 9 years. During the 3-day summit, Union Ministers Dharmendra Pradhan, Dr. S. Jaishankar and trade ministers of various countries and several business leaders will share their ideas on issues concerning businesses globally. Prime Minister Narendra Modi will attend the special session on Sunday as the chief guest. The 2-day G20 Trade and Investment Ministerial meeting under India's presidency concluded in Jaipur today. The G20 Trade and Investment Ministers agreed on 5 concrete and action-oriented deliverables which have been adopted in the outcome document, focusing on promoting global trade and support to MSMEs. Addressing media after the meeting this afternoon, Union Commerce and Industry Minister Piyush Goyal said G20 ministers also issued a Jaipur call for action for enhancing access to information for micro, small and medium enterprises.
अंतरराष्ट्रीय स्तर पर ग्लोबल वैल्यू चेन्स होती है, जो सप्लाई चेन्स होती है, अंतरराष्ट्रीय व्यापार को सरल बनाती है, ऐसी ग्लोबल वैल्यू चेन्स को कैसे मैपिंग किया जाए, कैसे उनको एक पटल पर लाया जाए, जिससे आगे चल के इनको और मजबूत बनाया जाए, सरल बनाया जाए और विश्व के लोगों के लिए, विश्व के व्यापार के लिए और सेवा अच्छी कर सके। ऐसे काम में हमें क्या क्या समस्याएं आती हैं, समस्याओं का समाधान क्या हो सकता है, इनको मैपिंग करने का सिलसिला इस मिनिस्टरियल मीटिंग में तय किया गया।
Union Culture Minister G. Kishan Reddy today said Varanasi is the cultural capital of India and it is a matter of pride that tomorrow the G20 Cultural Ministers' Declaration, which is called the Varanasi Declaration, will be announced from the holy city. Mr. Reddy was addressing the media prior to the Cultural Ministers' meeting of the G20 in Varanasi tomorrow.
इस शहर में होना इसका इम्पोर्टेंस भी है, इसका विरासत हो, कल्चरल हो, बैकग्राउंड हो, कल्चर मिनिस्टर्स का मीटिंग का डिक्लेरेशन सारी दुनिया को जाना, इधर से घोषणा होना हमारे लिए बहुत सौभाग्य की बात है, गर्व की बात है।
Minister of State for External Affairs V. Muralidharan has said India wants to bring a new perspective in the G20 exercise during its presidency. In an exclusive interview to Akashvani News, Mr. Muralidharan said this time the G20 presidency is different in many ways.
See, this time the G20 of which India is holding the presidency, that is different in many ways. And one difference is that this is no more pure diplomatic exercise, but it has become an activity of the common man, of the general public. So the Prime Minister's opinion and his view is that there should be Jan Bhagidari, participation of the people in the G20 activities. That's why G20 was taken to more than 50 destinations in the country. 200 events were held.
The full interview can be heard on FM Gold channel 100.1 and additional frequencies of Akashvani 9:15 p.m. onwards tonight in the program Spotlight. This is Akashvani giving you the news. For quick news updates round the clock, follow us on our Twitter handle at AIR News Alerts. The Supreme Court today transferred all cases being probed by the CBI in connection with the Manipur violence to a set of designated judges in Assam to ensure the safety and protection of victims and witnesses for a fair trial. A bench of the Apex Court, headed by Chief Justice of India, Dr. D.Y. Chandrachud, passed the interim order after hearing a batch of petitions that had been filed after the Manipur violence. The court asked the Guwahati High Court to select judges who are conversant in more than one language used in Manipur. The court will hear the matter on the 1st of September. The top court directed the Manipur government to provide proper internet services to facilitate hearing in the CBI cases through online mode at the Guwahati court. The Ministry of Defence has signed a contract with Hindustan Shipyard Limited HSL Visakhapatnam for acquisition of 5 fleet support ships for the Indian Navy at an overall cost of nearly 19,000 crore rupees. It would be a major boost towards achieving the goal of self-reliance in defence manufacturing, as these ships will be indigenously designed and constructed by HSL. The India Meteorological Department IMD has forecast isolated heavy rainfall activity over northeast India and Sikkim during the next 3 to 4 days. Heavy rainfall is also likely over Gangetic, West Bengal, Jharkhand, Odisha and Bihar during the next 2 days and will decrease thereafter. The Weather Office also forecasts subdued rainfall activity over remaining parts of the country during the next 1 week. In Punjab, there has been a slight decrease in the rainfall in various districts in the last 24 hours. However, the water level of various dams still remains above the danger mark. We have a report.
In Tarn district, 1,49,000 cusick of water is being released downstream from the Harike headwork, which is likely to further maroon the border villages of Firozpur. Areas of Muthiamali village in Tarn district are also reported to be marooned in flood water. The work of bridging the breach in Dosi Band in Ghadua area of the district is going on a war footing, and about 50% of the work has been completed with the help of local peoples. Shishu Sharma Shantal, Akashvani News, Jalandhar.
Prime Minister Narendra Modi is arriving in Bengaluru tomorrow morning to visit the telemetry, tracking and command network of ISRO and greet the team that made history by successfully conducting the Chandrayaan mission. The Prime Minister is slated to spend an hour in ISRO and congratulate the Chandrayaan 3 mission team, headed by ISRO Chairman S. Somnath. The Prime Minister will share his thoughts with the people of the country and abroad in the Mann Ki Baat program on Akashvani at 11 a.m. on Sunday. It will be the 104th episode of the monthly radio program. On to sports. In cricket, the Indian women's visually challenged team created history by becoming the first team to reach the maiden final of the International Blind Sports Federation World Games 2023, being held at Birmingham in the United Kingdom. Blind cricket in IBSA World Games made a debut last week, with England and Australia playing the first match. The Indian women's blind team will take on Australia in the final tomorrow. In their opening match, India defeated Australia by 8 wickets to kick off their campaign in style. In the second match, India registered a win against England by 185 runs. In badminton, India's HS Prannoy will take on home favourite and reigning world champion Viktor Axelsen in the quarter-final of the World Championships at Copenhagen this evening. However, India's men's doubles pair of Satvik Sairaj and Reddy and Chirag Shetty lost a Danish combination of Kim Astrup and Anders Rasmussen 18-21, 19-21 in the quarter-final. Olympic champion Neeraj Chopra qualified for the men's javelin throw final of the World Championships in Budapest, Hungary today, as well as 2024 Paris Games, pulling off a commendable first attempt of 88.77 metres. And now, before we end the bulletin, the headlines once again. India and Greece agree to double bilateral trade by 2030 and elevate partnership to strategic level. Finance Minister Nirmala Sitharaman addresses B20 Summit of Business leaders in New Delhi, says government's priority is to check inflation. G20 trade and investment ministers adopt outcome document at a meeting in Jaipur focusing on promotion of global trade and support to MSMEs. Supreme Court transfers all CBI cases pertaining to Manipur violence to a set of designated judges in Assam. In badminton, India's HS Prannoy to play in men's singles quarterfinals of World Championships in Copenhagen this evening. That is all in the news at 9. Good night.